Say big O when the song's down, if you can say big O wherever you're at. The first song was our Blue Dress song. It's from Kashaya's side, or one of our dress songs there. And I'm going to sing the fast version of that song. But why don't we just take a moment here to just pause and take a deep breath together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yakwi. Give thanks, Yakwi, Yakwi, Yakabaya. Just letting go of all of that stuff that doesn't belong to us. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Another deep breath. And then we're calling our spirit home. Maybe you could think of a little prayer right now for yourself, or for somebody that's not with us right now, or for someone that needs a little prayer right now, a little prayer for a miracle now. You can think of that prayer now. Any away, oh, any away, 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 any away, oh, any away. Any away, oh, any away, 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 any away, oh, any away. Oh, 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 hey, hey, oh, oh, Yakwi. Thanks. I'm gonna pass it back over to Scott.
Welcome everybody to our Emerging Visionaries event. My name is Scott Quinn, Executive Director with Marin Interfaith Council. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, whatever you believe, whomever you love, welcome. Tonight, we're so glad you're here with us for our program, which is the theme of simple amazement and gratitude for the sacred relationship we share with all life. So this is the what, how, and why of our ever response to climate change and all the crises we face. So thank you for joining us for this evening of music and movement and reflection and dialogue and commitment to action. And so Ras, did you want to have one more psalm before Lauren does our invocation?
Or I think we can go straight in, Lauren.
All right.
Take it away.
Lauren, please take it away.
Good evening, everyone. So good to be with you. in the way that is right for you, please join me in becoming present for this time together. You. We call you by many names: Creator, Yahweh, Allah, God, Goddess, Spirit of life, source of our breath. We begin our joyful gathering today with gratitude. Thank you for the lands and the watersheds where each of us calls home. Thank you for our incredibly diverse family of relatives, human and more than human, who model beloved community through love and beauty, generosity, and surrender. Thank you for our teachers and mentors, our benevolent ancestors and spiritual guides who nudge us toward more love, more truth, more love, more truth. Thank you for the gift of our families, biological, extended, and ancestral, and the ways that they show us birth and death and right relationship. For all who are here now, creating this virtual yet potent circle, we give our joy and thanks. We ask you, the one who inspires rocks to become breath and turns caterpillars into butterflies, to bless this gathering. Grant us the same courage to metamorphose. Awaken in us the courage we need to respond wisely in these times, and then to become good ancestors for the ones yet to come. In you and throughout creation, we are filled with the words, oh, wow. May this simple amazement be our teacher and our guide both tonight and in the times ahead. In your many holy names we pray, blessed be, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you so much, Ras, for grounding us and getting us off such an amazing start this evening. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Let's just do a couple of housekeeping things before we go any further. So first of all, again, thank you for joining us tonight. And I think all of us are pretty much pros at Zoom by now, but just in case, let's just mention a couple of things about Zoom. So first of all, in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a little view button. And you can choose to either be in gallery view, when you can see all the beautiful faces of folks gathered here tonight, or speaker view, which will then focus on whoever is speaking at that moment. And you can toggle back and forth. But that's the way you can choose what your screen looks like. In the bottom of your screen on the left, you'll see a mute button and a video button. So we already have everybody in mute mode, just so we don't pick up all these amazing sounds of our beloved other life forms in the room with us or outside distractions. I know my cat is right here and may greet us in a little bit. So we were all in mute mode, but later on we'll have some group discussions, in which case you'll have a chance for some rich interaction with other folks. So the other button down there is a video button. So if you wish, it's always nice to see beautiful faces, so you can turn on your video if you feel comfortable for everybody to see your lovely face tonight, but totally up to you. Certainly I would recommend doing that when we get into the breakout room so we can all see each other's faces later tonight. Finally, in the middle, you'll see the chat button. So even if you just hover over with your mouse over your screen, you'll see the chat button in the middle. And if you punch that, if you click that chat button, you'll see over to the right, a little screen appears, and that's where we have chat, where you can share noticings, questions, if you need some technical assistance. But right now I invite us in the chat to introduce ourselves. Your name, if there's an organization or faith community you're with, and where you're joining us with. So for instance, Scott Quinn with the Marin Interfaith Council, and I'm joining us from a lonely land, which we call San Rafael. So however you wish to name yourself, please do so, and let's see who else is here in the chat. Yes, and as I've been kindly reminded in chat, my brain today is in the East Bay, having looked at some different maps, but we're actually in coastal Miwok land here, so wanted to correct that. And let's go ahead and thank some amazing people who have made this night possible. So first of all of you dear folks who gave a donation as we joined tonight, and particular thanks to our sponsors. So I just invite you, if you wish, to just wave your hand in the room whenever I name you. This is a great thank you for those who are so graciously sponsoring us tonight. So our visionary sponsors, the Dominican Sisters of San Rafael, and an anonymous donor. Our advocate donors, St. Anselm's Church and St. Rita Catholic Church. Our partner sponsors, By the Bay Health, EAH Housing, First Presbyterian Church San Rafael, Marin Health Medical Center, and our community supporters, Dominican University of California Institute for Leadership Studies, Fair Housing Advocates of Northern California, Interlude and Associates, Jewish Family and Children's Services, Osher Marin JCC, Westminster Presbyterian Church. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you everyone joining us tonight for your support in presence and in spirit. So this is the 16th year that we've held this fall event, which we now call Emerging Visionaries. And this is the 39th year of the Marin Interfaith Council and our mission to celebrate faith, advocate justice, and build community. And one way to describe the direction that we're leaning into for the coming year of our 40th anniversary is Interfaith 3.0. So Interfaith 1.0 is to do no harm. Let's coexist in peace. 2.0, to collaborate in order to address community needs and learn from each other in the process. And 3.0, to change consciousness, to awaken hearts and minds. This builds on the two previous steps, and in this process, we refocus our human eyes to a spiritual perspective, where we see every being as kin in one interconnected web of being. And that perspective and our presence everywhere we go upends business as usual, bridges divides, and awakens the same awareness in others, one meeting, one gathering, one conversation, one act of justice at a time. So you are Interfaith 3.0. You are the Marin Interfaith Council. You are like-hearted people of every faith and no faith. And together, let's create a world, a community where everyone is welcome and everyone thrives. So one person whom I just adore and who really embodies the heart of Interfaith 3.0 and the Marin Interfaith Council through grace, wisdom, and presence in our community is our board president, Mark Noguchi. And tonight, Mark would like to share a few words with us.
Thank you, Scott. Good evening, and welcome to the Marin Interfaith Council annual fall event. My name is Mark Noguchi, and I'm the current board president. I just want to say hello to Bethany and Laylee. You were the past presidents, and you were my inspiration. So thank you for being here tonight. I consider myself to be an interfaith Buddhist because while rooted in Buddhism, I've always been open to learning from teachers of many faith traditions. I was drawn to MIC when I returned to Marin County in 1995. As a Japanese American Buddhist who was raised during the 50s and 60s, I was very aware of the prejudice against our community as well as the disparagement of Buddhism. But I found that Marin Interfaith welcomed all faith traditions and taught respect and dignity toward others, especially those who come from traditions that are different from ours. How could I not be a part of this organization? My sister Vani is a Buddhist who was respected by all of her generous and kind actions in the world. She told me the other day that one of her teachers said the practice today is to appreciate diversity. I'll repeat that, appreciate diversity. And maybe it was because of the influence of MIC or just my innate curiosity that took me to meditation ashrams, Christian Bible study at Christ Presbyterian Church, and over the past 10 years, Torah study and community engagement at Congregation Modef Shalom. And over these many years, I've found the common theme with all of our faith traditions: compassion, kindness, generosity, love, tikkun olam, healing the world. My faith communities, our MIC board, our retreats and gatherings all lift my spirits and give me optimism when there are plenty of reasons to feel otherwise. I hope you all enjoy this evening and engage in thoughtful dialogue. At the conclusion of the event, if you are so inspired, please donate what you can to this amazing organization. Scott will provide the link. And as they say during the KQED fundraisers, contributors at the $1,000 level will receive a 10 CD collection of Mark Noguchi chanting the Buddhist sutras in Pali, while his wife, Kei Noguchi, plays the shakuhachi flute. Just kidding. Back to you, Scott.
Oh, Mark, I was looking forward to those recordings. Well, we'll see what we can do about that. Thank you so much, Mark. So grateful to you. And as Mark mentioned, if you feel so inclined tonight, I put the link into chat to donate. And did want to also mention one other sponsor we had with the Baha'is, Baha'is in Marin, who are so gracious to us, and the Baha'is of San Rafael was so grateful for their support as well. So now it's time for us to take the next step in our conversation tonight. So you've already had a chance to meet Ras and Lauren through song and through invocation. And so we're so grateful to have both of them here with us tonight, really grounding us in this one life that we all share, as together we come together around this time of crisis around our planet. This is why some MIC leaders have been meeting with Lauren for over a year in a group process called Project Adapt. And through Project Adapt, we face reality as it is for what's going on in our planet. We feel it, we grieve it in community, and then together we ask 5 questions. What do we revere? What is our resilience? What must be relinquished? What needs to be restored? With whom and with what do we need to reconcile? Reverence, resilience, relinquishment, restoration, reconciliation. Or said another way, climate chaos is the result of a spiritual misunderstanding. And so our response is a spiritually rooted adaptation. And it's in that spirit that we turn our attention now, our hearts, our minds, open ourselves to Ras and to Lauren, who will be in conversation with us tonight and with each other to spark us as we open, as we adapt, and as we reattune ourselves to the spirit that connects us all so we can respond more generatively to the need of our moment. So you've already met Lauren and Ras, but let's formally introduce them. So Reverend Lauren Van Ham is the Climate Action Coordinator for United Religious Initiative, URI, Spiritual Director, and guest faculty for several schools in the Bay Area, one of which is the Chaplaincy Institute, where I met Lauren and where we worked. And that's how I came to know Lauren as someone who's creative, visionary, passionate, alive, a dear friend. And I love Lauren. I'm so glad that she's here with us tonight. Some of you have already experienced Lauren through the Marin Interfaith Council, through Project Adapt, and also through Retreat Days. So we're so glad to have you back with us. And through Lauren, we've come to know now Ras, and we're so grateful to have you in community with us tonight. Ras K'dee is a renowned lyricist, producer, lead vocalist, and keyboardist for Audiopharmacy. He's the founder of the Nest Community Arts Center in Forestville, which is an Indigenous-led, sustainably built hub for all artists. And he's the editor and producer of SNAG Magazine, a Native-owned arts and culture magazine. So we thank you, Ras and Lauren, for being with us tonight, and we look so forward to what you have to share with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Yakui, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Ras. I think I want to say first and foremost how much we would love to be in the same room with you tonight eating the hors d'oeuvres that we've heard of, that this is supposed to be this really great night of, you know, rubbing elbows and exchanging hugs and good food. So in spirit, that is what we are doing tonight. And Ras and I will try now in our short conversation together to relay some of that richness in a different way. I put together 3 questions for Ras and I to explore a bit tonight, and we'll see with timing if we're able to get through all of those. Ras is also going to share toward the end of our time some spoken word and exposure for us into the Pomo language a little bit with some movement. And I'll let you talk more about that when we get to that moment, but just to kind of give an arc to where we're going here. And there will be some time then for all of us who are gathered tonight to be in a breakout portion to share some ideas and thoughts about how this has all been. So without further ado, Ras, many people who are gathered tonight are meeting you or hearing your work for the very first time. When I listen to your music, we have a number of your albums playing in our home now, or when I had the great gift of visiting you at the Nest, your awesome spot there in Forestville, I feel the wholeness of how you are trying to be in the world. And what I mean by that is there's an intention, there's design around how you teach and live and make art with regard to the greater living system, the water, the plants, land, even textiles, the building that you're in right now. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about this and how you live in relationship with this term sacred reciprocity.
Thank you, Lauren. Thanks for the beautiful question. Once again, I want to say thank you to everyone joining, and just taking the time to just be with us tonight and having interest in this, because I think that's a shift in consciousness for us as a whole, and thinking about Indigenous leadership and thinking about the ways in which we honor Indigenous peoples and honoring their voices. So all of you showing up here tonight is really impactful to me, and shows me that we're experiencing quite a shift in consciousness around Indigenous voices and the importance of these things. So I'm just grateful. But yeah, I guess for me, I think, Lauren, sacred reciprocity to me is all about gratitude. It's about being thankful, something really simple. And as we're entering into this time of, Thanksgiving, we call it things taken because things got taken, right? As we're entering into this time, I think that everyone's thinking about that being thankful, and as an Indigenous person, I was always taught to be in gratitude, to be in prayer. When we start anything, we start with the song. We start with lighting the fire. We light the fire, and the sacred fire for us is the most important part of the ceremony. So we can do it in our homes. We can light a candle, but it's about the intention when we go to that fire. It's about the what we not what we're asking for, not what we want. It's about being grateful, being thankful. And I think for me in the morning when I wake up, the first thing that I do every day is I get my water. I get my cup of water, and I just sit with my cup of water and speak to my water in the morning, and giving thanks for the water. Yakuyaka, Yakui Capre, Yakuyakabaea, which is great spirit, sacred masculine, sacred feminine, are giving thanks for the water. And then I give thanks I go start with the mountains, giving thanks for our sacred mountains here, Makamoma Hilikana, Kanimota, Akoyet, some of the sacred mountains around here that we pray to as our cathedral, as you may. And yeah, we give thanks for the mountains, and then we follow it downriver, giving thanks for Ashokana Chach, Bidapede Chach. Our prayers get sent from the mountain down the stream, all those village sites along the way, along the stream there, and then all the way to the ocean, Kamats and Kashaya, and then up to the village of Dunica, and then up to Habida, and then I followed up from Habida up the river, the Garcia River in Mendocino County. We call it Point Arena, Manchester in English, but Habida is my grandmother's village site. And I follow the prayer up all the way up to Shokowa. Shokowa is the eastern river people in the north there on the Garcia River. We call it the Bidaha, the river mouth. And so we follow our prayers up to there, and then give thanks for where the water comes out in Shotokai, even further north up there near Cloverdale and Ukiah, Yokeo village. So we give thanks for all those things, and the land where we belong, where we're from. But what we'd say in our language is it's the land where that we belong to, right? So we belong to those places. We're a part of those places. Not that we're from there, not that we're coming out of there, but we belong to those mountains. We belong to those rivers. We belong to the ocean there. So that's I think in thinking about reciprocity, I think the most important thing is acknowledging all those things, acknowledging all those places every day, and we giving thanks for Hida, for the sun, giving thanks for the moon, Lhasa. The Weda right now is the full moon, and so we're giving thanks for all of life, really. And we'll get more into some more language in a little bit, but I just want to start off by giving thanks for some of those things in our session here together. And yeah, just honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ras. It's really beautiful to hear the language. I thank you for being so intentional about sharing the names of places and bodies of water that I know using different words, but it's really, really nice to feel rooted in that. Scott mentioned this a little bit in his earlier comments, but for about a year and a half, there have been a group of us within the Marin Interfaith Council who've been participating in a practice called Project Adapt. And at Project Adapt, we understand that technological innovation and political decisions will not be enough to solve the climate chaos that we're already experiencing. And Project Adapt believes that there are ways of being that, even as the crisis intensifies, can bring restoration. And we can bring healing and love to our lives and to our neighbors and to the lands and the spaces where we live. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are about this, that even as things intensify, that there are ways we can show up that can embody healing and love.
Well, like what you said, Lauren, about more love, and in your invocation, and more thankfulness, more connection, and I think as I mentioned before that, to see all of you here, just to hear somebody speak, to hear someone native from this area, from this land to speak is I think monumental in the shift in consciousness that we're seeing. But yeah, I think it's all we're kind of moving from a time of force to a time of consent, and that can mean a lot of things for many of you. But for us as Indigenous people, we have been forced to do a lot of things over the history of settler colonialism here in California. And my grandfather, he's a reverend, you know, and one day I asked my grandfather, I said, you know, his name's Al Algin. Y'all might know of him. He's been around. He was the first Indigenous I guess leadership at the Friendship House in Oakland. So you might know him from those days when the Friendship House was run by the Quakers. I asked my grandpa Al. I asked him, you know, Grandpa, you became a reverend, like, you know, but why did you I guess kind of, you know, not honor your Indigenous traditions and your cultures? Why did you become a reverend? You know, so I asked my grandpa, and he said, and his answer was really surprising to me. I wasn't expecting to hear what he said, and what he said was that he became a reverend because he had to. He became a Christian because he was forced to become a Christian, and I wasn't expecting that answer. And then he proceeded to tell me about first contact in our village here in Geyserville, and just north of Santa Rosa, north of Healdsburg, about 20 minutes outside of Santa Rosa, the hills there. Our first contact was in 1913, and it was with the BIA, and they came with rifles, and they asked my family to convert or die, and that was the story that he told me, and I wasn't expecting that story. I thought he was just going to tell me he was moved by the faith, and he was moved by my God, or he something touched him, or that's what I was expecting to hear. But then he told me that he was raised as a Christian because his parents were forced into Christianity, and that really struck me. And today, I kind of acknowledge myself as a fourth generation survivor of genocide, right? We talk about my great grandmother's generation. My great grandmother was she was about 4 years old when first contact happened. So, but she remembered that. She remembered them having to put all of the traditional regalia, the baskets, ceremonial items, anything that represented anything indigenous. They had to put it on the canoes, and they sent the canoes upstream. And that was kind of the end of that era, because they had to convert to Christianity. And she remembered that time. I talked to her about it many times, and she remembered it. And this was somebody that I grew up with. So this was somebody that who was a part of my life till I was about 14 or 15 years old. She passed away when she was 87. And her name was Rose Elgin. And so, when we think about colonialism and settler colonialism and the impacts of that, we think about it as something that's ancient, something that's from 1492 or, the 1500s or something. But we don't think about it as, these are living people that their relatives that are alive now remember them. They were part of their lives, because we're not talking about ancient times. We're talking, 175 years of settlement here in California, right? So we're talking about a very brief part of time, But I share that story, because we're moving from this place of force into consent. Where we're going, this is this place of consent, the age of consent. We're moving into this age where we ask for permission. And part of what we're taught as Indigenous people is that we always ask for permission. And that's what part of that prayer is. When we light the fire, is we're asking for permission to host that ceremony. We're bringing our medicines to the fire. We're bringing our medicines to this place. And we're asking for permission to pray. in that space. Even us as Native people that are from here, we do that to recognize that we have to ask for consent with everything that we do. And I think that's where we're moving to. We're moving from a place of acknowledgement to action. And that's why we're all here tonight, right? We're talking about not just acknowledging the past, but we're going to take action. We're going to move beyond just saying, you know, we're from these lands and, you know, these people are, you know, part of where we're from. No, we're moving beyond that. Now we're in a place of like, okay, what's our action steps going to be? How are we going to be in solidarity with these communities, right? And so I think that's beautiful. That's beautiful to think about, you know. And as Native folks, we understand, you know, when I travel to Ohlone territories down in the Bay Area, I'm not gonna hold ceremony. I'm not gonna sing songs or do anything because I haven't gotten permission. But if my relatives are there and you know, the Ohlone relatives are there and I ask them, and, you know, I talk to their leaders and they say, yeah, it's okay for you to, you know, sing, then I'll sing, you know. And so as Native peoples, we understand those protocols and understand that. And we're still learning, you know, we have to re-acknowledge those things as well. But yeah, being in solidarity, I think, is the most important thing. And moving from that place of just acknowledgement into action is, I think, I guess kind of where we're heading. But yeah, I think most importantly, Lauren, is for us just to remember just the simple thing of only taking what we need, you know, just that. If you were to leave with anything here tonight, that would be my message, would be just only take what you need, you know, leave it more beautiful than when you came, you know. When you came here and it was already beautiful, you leave it more beautiful. Those are the indigenous principles, you know. We only take what we need. We don't need 10 houses and 10 cars and, you know, all these, you know, fancy things and jewelry and all that stuff is extra. If that makes you feel good, then yeah, you can have all those things, you know. But we only need a little bit of water, you know. We only need a little bit of food. We don't need 10 meals a day, you know. But I guess I would say, you know, with a show of hands, you know, how many of y'all went to the store this week? Raise your hand if you went to the store this week. How many of y'all went to the store this week a couple times? Raise your hand if you went to the store this week a couple times already. All right, see some hands still up. A lot of hands going up. So if you've been to the store this week and you've been there a couple times, then I'll ask you the same thing. You know, how many times did you go to the land? How many times did you go to the land to pray? How many times did you stand in solidarity with your indigenous communities this week? You know, and these are the questions that I ask our youth. You know, it's like, you know, you went to Target, you went to Walmart, you went to Walgreens, you went to X, Y, and Z, Costco, but how many times did you go to the trees to pray? And it really makes the kids think, because you know, they're like, you're right, I didn't. I didn't go to the trees. I didn't ask for permission. I didn't light the fire. I didn't do those things, right? And so this is just a reminder, the way that we wake up the kids, you know, is yeah, you went to McDonald's, but you know, but did you plant some food? You know, did you plant some trees? Did you, you know? So just kind of mess with them a little bit. But I'll pass it back to you, Lauren. You got another question?
I'm glad you're messing with them and messing with us too. So we got to mess this stuff up. Tonight's theme is simple amazement. And I mentioned in my invocation two words that are a prayer most of us know. Oh, wow. Mm. Oh, wow. It's such a good prayer. I said it at least 15 times the other day when a hawk landed in a tree in our backyard. And this past week, when the moon was rising and she's waxing fuller and fuller, there's an eclipse tonight, for those of you who don't know. In the Bay Area, I don't know if we'll see it because it's pretty foggy out there. but there are these oh wow moments, and it seems like there's so much teaching just in Earth's generosity for us. And I hear you in kind of, you know, what you've just said about are you going to the land as many times as you are going to you know, to the store, to the space of commerce, right? So I'm curious, Ras, if you have any thoughts you're willing to share with us on how we can unlearn some of our well-traveled patterns of dominion or control or ownership, however we want to call it, extraction.
Yeah, I guess I think the best way to unlearn is to learn. You know, we have to learn about the impacts. You know, we have to learn about not just the impacts of settler colonialism on the tribes, right? We're talking about the impacts of the eco side, right? You know, in 50 years, 96% of the old growth forest was chopped down here in California. All the waterways were dredged. All the waterways were dammed. All the waterways were polluted. We had 26 million ounces of mercury poured into most of the waterways in California for the extraction of mercury or extraction of gold, right? Using huge water cannons and you know, dredging, you know, these waterways and extracting, right? So that there's a history of impacts, and these ecocides that happen were systematically aimed at removing indigenous people from their lands, right? The national park system, that wasn't about conservation, it was about conservation for who? Because that's where the indigenous people lived. So 80% of the land today, when we look at the US map and the national parks, you know, the tribes were removed from those lands. And now today it's a national park, right? And so those are the questions that we need to be looking at. And that's why I'm really happy to see this land back movement, because, you know, in our generation, we're starting to see, you know, lands being returned, and some really positive things are happening. But when, you know, when I ask the kids, I ask them about, you know, sustainability. You know, what does it mean to be sustainable? And I ask them the question, like, you know, how do you thrive, you know, for one generation? You know, how do you thrive for 7 generations, for 10 generations, for hundreds of generations? How do you do that? You know, and it gets them to think about, you know, their impact, gets them to think about it, you know. And I think as our ancestors, our elders, I guess, are passing away, becoming ancestors, you know, I think about all the ways that they overcame, you know, systemic racism, poverty, you know, just simple things of, like, you know, overcoming, you know, getting housing because they were discriminated against, you know, basic survival, all the things that they had to endure just because they were from this area, they were indigenous to this area, and because of the way they looked, you know, and the way they talked. It wasn't appropriate to talk that way, or speak your language, or wear your hair long, or, you know, whatever it is that they did. And I just think about, well, what if there was a generation that was able to thrive? You know, what if there was a generation that got an opportunity to create their own destiny for the people, or self-determination, what they say now, right? And you know, it got me to thinking about, you know, in which ways is that possible, you know, for our generation, you know, as a young man, you know, just trying to get by. And so that, you know, so that's when we started building the nest, and creating our own village. You know, what we want to see for the future generations. We want to see, you know, our youth, our young people raised in a non-toxic environment, you know, that means that you have to build it, because the construction industry is toxic, right? It has a lot of waste. There's a lot of waste, right? And so that means if you want to exist and be in a healthy way, then you have to start from the ground up. You have to build it from the ground up, and with ceremony, you know. So you can't just build and build. I'm just going to build. We purchased our land here in 2012, and we didn't start building for 5 years. We really watched the land. We really spent time here, spent summers here, winters here, really connected to the land, acknowledged the land, made sure not to move anything, made sure to really take care of it. And also, you know, we had to clean it, because there was a home here that burned down that we needed to remove all the debris. You know, there were trees that fell and things that we had to remove. So it's been a lot of work to get to this point of taking care of the space, and thinking about what does it mean, you know, for us to thrive into the future, you know. And maybe, you know, maybe my generation will be the first generation that is allowed to thrive. And that's something that's amazing to me, a simple amazement to me. Like, what if my generation was allowed to thrive? What if our generation was allowed to thrive? Imagine what that would look like for, you know, the next 7 generations, you know, what they would be capable of, the things that we would be able to do, right? So I guess I'll just leave you with that, you know, something to think about. Maybe you can ask yourself that maybe later this week. Maybe you can think about it. You know, what does it mean to thrive for 7 generations? How do we get to that point? Is it the acorn, the sustainable food? Is it, you know, getting the tribes their land back? You know, there's a lot of things we can put in place to get to that, right? So something that I'll leave here with y'all is, what does it mean to thrive for 7 generations, 10 generations, 20 generations?
Thank you so much, Ras. I think one of the other things that I'm gleaning here is that consent takes time. There's an investment. It's not kind of the wham bam thank you, you know. There's really arriving on the land and seeing what the land is asking for, and speaking with the tree and asking permission. Is there anything you want to say about that before we move on to the spoken word portion? I want to give you a chance to respond.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of times we forget, you know, just basic things, even on a day to day, you know, we forget to take a moment to pray. We forget to take a moment to just be in silence, right? We forget to take a moment to just take a deep breath and just, you know, let go of things, call our spirit home. You know, we forget to just be at peace, you know, with the way that we speak and the people that we're around. So much going on in the world, we forget, you know, that those simple things really help us to remember, you know, I guess kind of our impact, you know, and you know, yeah, with consent, you know, moving into this age of consent that I talked about, you know, it's a really simple thing, you know, and it happens in all of our relationships, right? You know, we with our friends, with our relatives, with our loved ones, with our partners, moving out of the way that we speak and moving into a place of agreement. We're making agreements together. We're both agreeing to honor those agreements. We're respecting those agreements. And that can only ripple out into what you said, with more love, more connection, more beauty, more nourishment, more, you know, all of those things that can only ripple out to beauty. And so, you know, I guess that is the most important thing. It's hard to do, you know, it's one of the hardest things to do, make agreements and honor those agreements. And that, you know, I've definitely, you know, not honored a lot of agreements in my life, and I'm still learning accept the ways that I failed and messed up or didn't honor that agreement. But it's also recognizing that our attitudes change, our attitudes shift, and then maybe it's time to make new agreements. Maybe it's time to get new consent, right? So that's a beautiful thing that we can always look at as well.
Thank you so much, Ras, for sharing all that you have with us tonight. And I know some of you who are here tonight might be really interested in learning more about Ras, what Ras is up to. And there will be a follow-up email that goes to all of you that provides some links and additional information. Ras, you have a invitation for us to move a little bit with some Pomo words, and I'm gonna let you do that. This is a chance for us to integrate a little bit, where we take in information with our head, we take in information with our heart, but we also get to kind of like start to metabolize it with our whole somatic system. So this is an opportunity to take in what we've been hearing into other parts of our intelligences. And then after Ras has done this, I think Scott and the team will take us into a little time for breakout session.
Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, so I wanted to share a little bit about our what we call the Pomo alphabet, and this is kind of how we teach our young folks just some kind of root words, some root language words, and it's a time for y'all to join me in these little movements. So you can stay seated in your chair. I'm gonna scoot back a little bit, and so you can see me a little bit better. But yeah, what we do is we teach a word and then we teach a movement. And so the first word that I'd like to share this evening is Ja, and the movement is like this. And Ja means one. It means one human being. It means one connectedness to one, right? To creator, to the land. We're all one being. And that's why we teach our young people this. The first word that we teach them is Ja. And Ja is also the root word for people is Chach. So that's plural. So be Ja is one, and then Chach would be people, and then Ja'a would be home. So it's all connected to that root word. So Ja. And the next word we learn is Ma. Ma. The movement is Ma, like this. Ma. We're grounded. We're on the land. Ama. So we call our building here Ama Jusei Ja'a. Ama Jusei Ja'a is the name of our home here. This is and the translation of that is Earth Basket Home. So Ama Jusei Ja'a. So it has both of those words in there. So we say Ja, Ma, and the next word we learn is Ha. Ha, the breath. Ha. Ha also means mouth, and Pomo means mouth. Ha. We say to breathe is Shuka. 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 So we all take a deep breath together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Shuka. Doesn't that feel good? All right, so we start with Ja, Ma, Ha. The next word we learn is Ka. Ka. The water, the sacred water. So a Ka Wenu is our medicine. That's that medicine, the medicine of the water. That's what it is, right? It's a medicine, right? So we start with Ja, Ma, Ha, Ka. And the next word we learn is Da. Da. Da is the sun. The sun is Da. We say Hida in our language, Hida, the sun. So we start with Ja, Ma, Ha, Ka, Da. The next word we learn is La. La, the moon, the moon. So the moon has, as you know, has cycles, right? So right now, the Weda is the full moon, but we teach them La'asa is the moon, just the moon itself. When it's full, it is the Weda. So it's getting close to, I think, that point now. So we start again with Ja, one, Ma, the land, Ha, our breath, Ka, water, Da, the sun, La, the moon, and then hands on the hips, strong, Mata. And all the ladies, you can say A e Mata. I am a woman. A e Mata. A e Mata. I am a woman. You can stand strong. Hands on your hips. Stand strong. All right. So we start with Ja, Ma, Ha, Ka, Da, La. What's connected to the moon? Mata, the woman. Then the next word is Kabe. Kabe. Kabe is the stone, like the stone, like a rock stone. And what we do is we call the Kabe is the person in our ceremonies who holds the rhythm. So they get the clapper stick. Oh, right. So that's the guy that holds the rhythm. We call him the Kabe, the stone. So the movement is the stone. So we start with Ja, Ma, Ha, Ka, Da, La, Mata, Kabe, Baya. Baya is the man. And all the fellas, let me hear you say A e Baya. A e Baya. I am a man. A e Baya. All right. All right. So we're gonna start off from the top. Ready? Ja, Ma, Ha, Ka, Da, La, Mata, Kabe, Baya. The last word we learn is Oho. Oho is the fire. So you can remember the fire. Remember we talked about lighting the sacred fire. So we like to light the sacred fire with y'all tonight. And so we'll start from that. We'll start from the top again. Ja, Ma, Ha, Ka, Da, La, Mata, Kabe, Baya. Oh, I see Mark's dog is trying to get in there. He's trying to do it with you guys. He's getting excited. He's like, hey, I know this Pomo language. All right. So now that you all have learned it, now it's time for the pop quiz. And this is the time when I ask one of y'all to lead it, and I can help you with the words and the movements as well. So who thinks they know it? Who thinks they got it? I see Mark pointing at his wife. Who thinks they got it? I'm going to help you along as well. And people are shaking their heads like, no, don't pick me. Don't pick me. Who thinks they got all the words down?
Mark
Or someone.
has.
Okay, looks like we got a volunteer. You got to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
All right, you got okay.
There you go. You ready? Ja, Ma, Ka, Da, or what? Ka, sorry. Da, La, Mata, Kabe, Baya. Oh, it's pretty hard, huh? It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to do it the first time. All right, who thinks they got it? We'll do one more. Maybe one of the people not in leadership, maybe one of the guests. Who thinks they got it? I still see people shaking their heads like, no, I don't got it. I'm not ready for this Pomo pop quiz yet. Do we got a volunteer? Raise your hand in the chat if you want to volunteer. All right, we got Gene B. Gene B, you ready? You unmute yourself so we can hear you. She's starting. I can't see her. Want to unmute yourself, Gene? We can't hear you.
I did.
Okay, there we go. All right, ready to go?
Yes.
All right. Ja,
Ja,
Ma,
Ma,
ha,
Ja,
ka,
Ka,
da,
Da,
la,
La,
mata,
Mata, Ave Mata,
kabe, baya.
Baya.
Oh,
Oh,
all right, all right. Let's get a big big round of applause, or you can do snaps. We do snaps. I like snaps too. Thank you, Gene. I like your glasses too. That's cool. You got to teach me how to do that on the app here. I don't know how to do that yet. I need to get a workshop. Well, I think we're running out of time. I was going to share some words, but share some of some poetry. But
Please do.
I think okay, we have some time. Okay. Watch as the world falls in our hands. One world will be taken to the promised land. I see many faces and many lives. Many survive, but still many so gon' die. We move. We will rise like a bread in the pan. Stand firm in the many like a grain of sand. Build one nation, only one divide. There's only one common goal. We share, we one tribe. If one suffers, we all got sickness. If one's lost, we all statistics. If one comes up, we all in business. If the world seemed broken right now, we fix this. Yeah. Yeah, that song is about it's about unity, about us being one tribe, because there's so many divisions and so much what they call hatred, I guess sometimes, and just a reminder that we're all one earth family, with all of our relatives, all of our the beings in the sea la, the sky, the ones in the Kamots or the Pacific Ocean here, all our relatives on the land, all the birds and all the little creepy crawlies, we're all one together, and we're one earth family. So that's what that song is about. But I'll pass it back to you, Scott.
Thank you so much, Ross. That was amazing. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for your conversation. Thank you for enlivening us and inspiring us. Just love so much. Only take what we need. Go to the land as much as we go to the market. The age of consent, where generation after generation can thrive. Thank you for holding this. Thank you for giving us new words and new movement that connect us and enliven us. Thank you. Thank you both so very much. So one thing we really love to do when we gather is a chance for us to connect with each other and to talk and to reflect and to share. So that's what we want to do next. And I want to share with you in the chat. So if you look in the chat, you'll see what we'll do in just a moment in our breakout rooms. So in just a moment, you'll receive an invitation to join a breakout room, and all you have to do is accept the invitation to join when it comes up. And it'll just, the Zoom goddess will randomly assign you to a room with some other folks. And there, I just invite you to, and this is just a suggestion, but do what you will, certainly to introduce yourselves when you get into the room. And just talk a little bit tonight. What surprised you? What inspired you? What challenged you? Anything along those lines that you want to respond to? And then what's one small doable action step you might take as a result of tonight? What's an action? What's an action that calls to you? A step that you can take. Even if you don't know all the hows or whens or whys, like this is what I'm inspired to do. And particularly if you can make it something doable, small and doable over the next days, that would be wonderful. And also invite you to, so we'll have almost 20 minutes for this. So just make sure that everyone in your group has a chance to share once in response to these questions. No one has to share. You're not required to say or share anything, but you're certainly invited to. But make sure everybody in your group has a chance to at least share once in response to these questions of what surprised you, inspired you, challenged you, and the one thing that you'll commit to doing. And then maybe you'll have, if there's more time, have an open conversation with each other and see where it goes. Or see what's inspired as you come together, sometimes something new. And maybe you'll revise your action step because it's inspired by someone else. See what happens. So I'm going to open up our breakout rooms, and again, invite you to join the room and see who joins you there. So we'll see you in about 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll come back for our closing. Hey, Lauren, Ras, thank you.
Hey.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful conversation with some other folks. And what I invite you to do just for a moment is in the chat, if anyone feels so inclined, what's something you'd like to share from your conversation, particularly if there's an action step that might inspire others. Feel If anyone feels so inclined to put that into the chat.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
So many wonderful,
Mhm.
slow down and notice. Live my life so I can be a better ancestor for generations to come. Begin my day by honoring the water.
Yeah.
Connect with our heart to respect the land and the earth. Learn more about deep adaptation. Be more systematic about mentored youth to be aware of the environment, allowed to thrive. Ask hiking group that every time enter a trail, forest, beach to ask for consent from a
Mm. Mm.
pray in nature. Meeting wonderful folks in tune with the teachings from tonight. Asking for consent. So I invite you to just keep letting those percolate and allow ourselves to live into and experiment. Take some action from your heart. Thank you so much for your commitments and for all that you're sharing. So just wanted to name a couple of things that will be follow-ups. So all of you who registered tonight, you'll be getting a follow-up email tomorrow. And in that email will be a couple of things. There's a new Project Adapt circle beginning on January the 13th. And Project Adapt has a new website as well. So www.projectadapt.earth. And so that'll be in your email tomorrow. So I invite you to check that out. And if you're so inclined to join, reach out about the new Project Adapt circle. Ras's wonderful work and Nest will have some information tomorrow about how you can become involved and support Nest. The Marin Interfaith Climate Action MICA, which convenes congregations to reduce their carbon footprint and increase care for the environment. And Make Deep Adaptation Visible in Marin, a series of workshops on permaculture principles to transform home and communal landscapes into ecosystems to provide natural habitats and edible gardens. Those are some of the things you'll find tomorrow as other practical ways that you can take action, take some next steps. And hopefully tonight you've also been inspired for some individual ways you may do that. We also want to do it in community because our grieving is in community, and also the actions that'll transform happen in community. So I want to thank you again, everyone tonight, my coworkers, Lynn and Esmeralda, for joining us, our former coworker Janice for being with us tonight, our board president, Mark Noguchi, all of you who joined us tonight, those who supported us financially, and deepest gratitude to Lauren and to Ras for their inspiration and their soulful leadership tonight. We thank you so much. And Ras, if you would be so gracious as to close us tonight, we would be very grateful.
Yeah, I'm gonna close just like I started with the traditional song. The song is the song from my great grandmother Bertha Antone, who was from Kashaya originally, the village of Dunica, and then she moved to Point Arena, Manchester, where she married Habida, we call it in our language, Bidaha, and yeah, and I want to offer this song as kind of a just closing for tonight, and then maybe we could take one last deep breath together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And it's time when you can think about one prayer again for maybe setting your intention for the rest of the week, or maybe it's for one of your relatives that needs a little bit of love in their life right now, or maybe it's for, just for a miracle And this is what we call the miracle song. This song. You, hey, you, And every time I sing that song, I just picture my great grandmother's face there. She's just looking at me, smiling, and all of our aunties and our our grandmas there, praying and singing, and that really brings me joy. So I just wanted to share that visual with all of you as we close this evening.
Oh.
Thank you, Ras. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to unmute everybody, so we're going to officially end now. But if anyone wants to hang around, I'll unmute everybody and we can talk. But thank you, everybody, for being with us tonight. Again, deepest gratitude to you, Ras and Lauren.